Good afternoon, everybody. Tom's back from the dugout, talking baseball. Baseball then and baseball now is the topic. And the reason I want to do that is I have a good friend of mine here. His name is Mark. And him and I have had great baseball discussions over the years, usually over some bourbon. So I said, let's do a video. He said, yeah, that'll be fun. Let's do a video. So hopefully you'll all like it. And it's about baseball from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, through the 2000s, the differences. What's occurred then, what was normal, and what is normal now. And there are some big differences, and I'm sure you'll agree with that.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, big differences. When we were playing baseball, which was a long time ago, but we played totally different. This game was the same, but the rules were different, the equipment was different. Anyway, the first topic I think we could discuss is home runs, home run hitters before the steroid era.
Era and after.
So, in your opinion, some of the big home run hitters of the 60s, the 70s, and the 50s, if you want to go there, we were actually little guys then.
Well, people like Willie Mays did 50s, 60s, and 70s. Hank Aaron did 50s, 60s, early 70s. So you had people around who went through multiple generations, and they sort of, you can compare them to the guys who came after because they were like really close.
Roger
Maris, who, that I don't know what your opinion is. He was a one-hit wonder for me.
Well, okay.
He broke the record and never approached it again.
Right, but he still did it once.
Yeah, well, but he wasn't like a Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle or Hank Aaron, who year in, year out.
He's not in the Hall of Fame. Let's put it that way. He is in the Hall of Fame though. Honorable mention. When you go up there, he does have a plaque, not in the Hall of Plaques, but a mention that he did hit 61 home runs in 61.
And not to mention, he had the advantage of being on the team with Mickey Mantle, a loaded team. So they were pitching around everybody.
Exactly.
To get to him.
Exactly.
So he had much more opportunity.
And Mick was also pacing him.
Right.
And Mick hit 56 home runs
that same year. You're exactly right. So it's different level. You could talk about different things during that time. Was the pitching better today than back then? Because that would affect the number of home runs somebody hit. If you had a whole class of pitchers.
I think, my opinion, the pitching today
Mm-hmm.
was much easier than the pitching back then. For one reason, the mound.
Okay.
That mound was an 18-inch mound.
Right.
And you're a good pitcher, and you're coming down on a batter from an 18-inch vantage point. Whoo!
That was.
Yeah, you can do some damage.
I guess I have to think about that too, because we had a lot of, during the time when we had these great home run hitters, we also had these great pitchers who would knock a guy down if he came too close to the plate. One difference between then and now, a lot of
That's
guys
right.
be in fear of their life.
Pitchers pitched inside.
Right. No, they owned the inside. If you stepped inside, they took you out.
And if you were known as a home run bopper,
right,
you're going to get pitched inside.
You get hit.
You're not going to get one grooved down the middle too much.
Yeah.
Unless it's a mistake.
But we're not here to talk about pitchers.
No,
we were
no.
talking about home run hitters.
But you know what?
But I think they go together.
In the interest of not getting off on one subject, steroids now, the Barry Bonds, the Mark McGuires, I feel so bad. I watched those guys hit 70, 72 home runs, and I'm saying to people that I know who are in a bar or sitting at home, and where are these guys hitting? I never saw guys hit home runs like this. Why are they doing this? I was really bewildered why they're hitting 70, 72 home runs. And then finally the steroid crap came out. And I'm saying, oh, the lousy cheaters. And so in my feelings are, the home run hitters of the 60s and 70s, they were better. They did it pure. They didn't change their chemical makeup.
Well, they did not. They did not.
No.
However, I don't care. You still had to hit the ball.
Yeah, you
Steroids,
had
no
to square it
steroids,
up.
You
and
still
it's-
have to hit the ball.
Right, I agree with that.
And
But
somebody like Barry Bonds,
Yeah,
even before he started taking steroids and his head blew up, he hit home runs.
was
He
a
hit a
great
lot.
ball player.
He hit a lot of home runs. He was a 5 tool.
he was in the Hall of Fame. He was headed right there.
Yeah,
But then he did that stupid steroids just to hit, what, 12 more home runs a year?
something like
Come
that.
on. Well, I mean, that's greedy crap. He ruined his career, and that made me feel bad. Same with McGuire, you know?
McGuire was hitting the ball as well
He was.
before steroids.
He was. And then all of a sudden, oh, I want to break records. I want to do. Now they're ostracized. They're over in a corner. Nobody will give them credit anymore. And that's
Is that
too bad.
deserved? Is that deserved though? I mean, like I said, you still had to. How many guys who you've never heard of took steroids and they never busted a grape?
Yeah, but
Okay,
but
I mean, so
they
steroids
didn't-
wasn't the thing that was.
They didn't hit 70 home runs. See, that's what
I'm saying exactly. So
Oh.
if steroids was doing it, why didn't it help these guys?
because they probably weren't the caliber of ball players that Barry Bonds and McGuire. Those guys were great ball players.
Without
You know, if you get a guy that hits 10 home runs a year, steroids aren't going to make him hit 70 home runs. But McGuire and Bonds could hit 50 home runs a year. So now the steroids bumped them up a few, and they broke records. But unfortunately, they ruined their careers, and I feel bad about that. I really do. And it ruined. You know, I'm a baseball purist. I don't think cheating. Now I'm not talking about, you know, the hidden ball trick at first base or something. That's all part of the game. I'm talking about changing your metabolic structure, which steroids do. It makes you stronger.
How about putting junk on a baseball?
I accept that. Believe it or not,
That's okay.
that's okay to me. It's okay. But changing your metabolic structure.
Cheating is cheating.
No. Well, I'm partial to old school baseball, and that was old school baseball.
Okay.
You know, but I can't see they changed their human structure. Anyway, how about other things? Let's talk about batting gloves.
Batting gloves. Never heard of them.
And neither did I. And do you know every player that I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot of ball players in today's world, they all use batting gloves. Maybe there is one or two that don't. They're like throwbacks. But I didn't know what a batting glove was when I was playing ball.
There was no such thing. The gloves were, even the glove itself is much different than it was back in our day.
Oh, I mean the fielder's glove.
Yeah, the fielder's glove.
Sure.
First base glove. Mine barely had a webbing in it. And now they.
I know. I know.
So
First baseman's glove, like this now.
right.
First baseman's glove years ago was like this. Yeah. Oh, the differences go on and on and on, and it's fun to talk about. You know, batting helmets, right? When did they come out? When do you think they came out?
I really don't know. It was probably. I was going to baseball games in the '60s, and I was a teenager. So I'm gonna go somewhere in the '70s. What do you think?
I'm thinking late '60s.
Late '60s.
I think what happened was, from what I know about the game, in the late '60s, it was optional. In other words, you could wear one if you wanted. It's up to you.
Right.
And some of the newer players in the game, the rookies coming in, wore it, because I think in the minor leagues they wore them. It
I
was,
don't know.
but the older players wouldn't. And then in about, I guess, the mid '70s.
Anybody here know when that started?
Yeah. How about any of you guys? You know,
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think it was in mid '70s where they became mandatory.
Yeah, I'm sure it was in the '70s because I remember in the '60s as a teenager, I'm going to the games. Nobody had a helmet.
Now, is it a good thing? Yeah, I think from a safety point of view, it is.
Well, you got these pitchers throwing 100 miles an hour.
It's going to hurt if you get hit in the head.
If you get hit in the head, that could be.
Yeah, it's going to hurt.
Even though the Cleveland, what were they? The guy who got killed by a baseball,
Ray Chapman.
Ray Chapman.
Yeah.
They weren't the Indians then, though, were they?
Yeah, I think they were the Indians.
Were
Yeah,
they?
I think they were. Yeah, they were the
Okay.
Indians. It happened in the 20s.
That was the only one I knew up to a point.
Yeah, it killed them.
But now you're talking about they could, you know, not necessarily kill them, but it could brain damage them for the rest
Now,
of their life.
there's a story about that. I was coaching a baseball team,
Mm-hmm.
and
71 helmets were made mandatory.
71.
71.
So I was close to being right. All right.
And so was I.
Thank you.
We have a fact checker here
yes.
who
Good job.
keeps
Good job.
us from going off the rails.
I was coaching a baseball team some years ago, and we were short players to the point where we would have to forfeit the game, or I would have to play. So I hadn't played baseball. I was in my 60s then, and I hadn't played baseball in a long time. And they were yelling, "Come on, coach! Come on! We don't want to forfeit the game." So I said, "All right." So it was my turn to bat. And I picked up a bat, swung it a little bit, walked up to the box, took a few practice swings, thinking to myself, "Oh man, this is going to be fun." Can I really hit this guy? And this guy was throwing maybe in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I'm ready. I'm waiting for this pitcher, and he's looking at me, and I hear the ump saying, "Hey," and I look at him. I said, "You talking to me?" Put a helmet on. And I looked at him. What? He said, "A helmet. You got to wear a helmet." And
Yeah.
I said, "Oh man, that's right. In today's world, we wear helmets."
Yeah.
So I had to get a helmet. None of them fit me because I got a huge head, and the helmet's like not fitting me well. Didn't make any difference. I didn't get a hit, but it was just so strange wearing a batting helmet after years of not wearing a batting helmet.
Right.
You know?
Right. I
But
mean,
they do save lives.
there are so many aspects of baseball that you could make a whole subject matter for one of these tapes. We've not even scratched the surface here of the home run hitter of old versus the home run hitter of the day, the physical aspects of it, they're bigger, stronger, faster today, maybe.
It's a good question.
Do they love the game the way the players did
It's another
back in the day?
I don't know.
When I was growing up, people played baseball because they loved the game. Now it's about the money they can get, and there's some talent there. There are a lot of them that are talent, but then they're not. There are a lot that are not. There are a lot of guys who make multi-million dollars. They're hitting 250, 260. That's not a batting average to me.
And they don't run out of ground ball.
And they don't run out of ground ball. Well, whatever.
That's a kicker to me.
But this is a nice start to discuss baseball.
Exactly.
There are a lot of nuances to the game.
Exactly.
A lot of
It's a great game. It
It's a
really
great
is.
game,
I love the
so-
game, and I know you do too. That's why I wanted to sit here with you today and do this video, because from talking to you over the years, you love the game.
yeah. And I'm gonna have to ask you, Tom. I'm getting thirsty. I need a drink. So wrap this up.
Yeah, well, we got some good bourbon over there.
Okay.
But first, I want to ask you, Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson.
Were you amazed? I know I was. I'm still amazed that this guy changed the rule that has been with baseball for 100 years, that the mound is going to be dropped to 12 inches.
Because he was gonna kill somebody,
Yeah.
Tom.
That amazed me. I will never, ever, ever look at that as something less than amazing, that this
Yeah.
guy was so... Do you know he had a 1.67 ERA that year? Think
Yeah,
about
I do that.
Think about that. And he was so effective that
But
they
what's
lowered
a
the
good
mound.
what's a good ERA? What's an average ERA?
I would say an average ERA, a good one is anything under 3.
Right. So he was
That's the
at
way
one.
I look at
he
it.
was at 1.87.
He was that year he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
And
All right. Listen, there's a lot more to talk about.
This was fun.
It was fun, but I understand you want to have a drink. So go pick out a bourbon, and we'll talk more. In the meantime, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up. My friend has to have a drink. I might have one too. But just tune in because we're going to pick this up again about the difference between baseball then and the difference between baseball now. Until then, if you like what you saw today, please subscribe, share, and please comment because we'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. See you soon.